What's up? Today I gonna run and memorize the fretboard. Guitar fretboard in 3 minutes. I found a video. The title is memorize the fretboard in 3 minutes. So let's see it.
Crazy, but say hypothetically, if you did, this is what it would look like. That's a lot of notes. How am I supposed to remember all that? Well, it's not that easy. Well, why should I do it? Remember the keyboard thing I said? But basically, if you want to play guitar, but you never learn about the fretboard, music kind of looks like this. Like, you might be able to piece a few things together here and there, but you'll never get this. Wow, I know. Okay, so the fretboard. Right now, even with the labels, it probably kind of looks like this. But to make it easier, let's just look at one string, the A string. So a few things here probably already look pretty familiar. That's the alphabet. Hopefully, you already have that memorized. If not, but in the language of music, those are called natural notes, which means they're not sharp or flat. However, you'll notice an empty fret following each letter. Those are sharp. Ouch. With the exception of between B and C and E and F. Why? Well, because everything's fucked. Now, the next thing you might recognize is this. Like hours on a clock, there are 12 notes in an octave. And also, like on a clock, once you get to the end, you go right back to the beginning. So after 12 is 1, after G is A. Great. So with that said, in order to memorize the fretboard, you only need to focus on the first 11 frets, because after that, it just repeats. Wow. Nice. But also to memorize the fretboard, you need to know all 6 strings. A quick lightning round of information that's not immediately important, but that you should know. A standard acoustic guitar spans 4 octaves, consisting of 48 unique pitches. In comparison, a standard modern piano spans 7 octaves. So a guitar is just this section. But unlike on a piano, the beginning and end of an octave isn't as clear, because if you were to lay out guitar strings across those 4 octaves, it would look like this. You'll notice that working backwards from the 6th string, the lowest string, each descending string begins on the 5th fret of the one above it, meaning the 5th fret of the low E is the same note and pitch as the open string below it. And that's true for all the strings, except for G and B, where B matches the 4th fret of G. If you want to know why, goodbye. The other important relationship is that the 1st and 6th strings have the same notes on the same frets, just 2 octaves apart. So they're both E strings. You know, guitar. So going back to our note clock, if you want to find the same pitch on a different string, just count up or down 5 per string. So if you're to lay out all the notes on a fretboard, it'll look like this. So for example, if you want to play B on the 6th string, you can play the same B here on the 5th string. You know what I mean? Music is math. So at this point, hopefully you understand the fretboard, and with enough time, you can figure out which note corresponds with what fret. And if you can, then in a way, you've already memorized the fretboard. Congratulations. But to get the most out of your new skill, you're gonna have to be able to pick out and play notes instinctively. Where's A? Too slow. The first step to be able to do that is to be able to recite these forwards and backwards. EAD, GBE, EBG, DAE. You know what I mean? If you can already do that, try reciting every second one, every third one, every 4th one. But a great practice exercise that you should do simultaneously with the guitar is to pick out a note, like for instance A, and then play that note on each string, up and down the guitar, just over and over to a metronome, because music. And then every day, do a different note. And once you can do every note easily, practice 2 notes, but like repetition is key. So with everything in mind, a common misconception made by guitarists, I'm guitarist, is that if you know the basics, everything will come naturally just from playing. And in my experience, that didn't happen. But a little conscious practice can go a really long way. Before you know it, you'll know every single note on the fretboard, like magic. But it's not magic, it's practice, so practice. Yeah, that's everything for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for making it to the end. Thanks for my patience. I hope you enjoyed the new style, the animated. Thank you for...
Great. So now I run the fretboard. Thank you for watching. And of course you run everything and memorize everything. And actually it's how how I can remember these notes. That's a difficult thing. At least the strings. Every asshole deserve good beer every day. Every asshole deserve good beer every day. Deserve good EADGBE. Every asshole deserve good beer every day. These kind of things. And while I'm running these fretboard. I thought piano is really easy to find the note. This is C, this is C, and on guitar, where is C at first? C, and octave is like this, like box things. 3, go 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But when it comes to like this, 1, 3, 5, like degree, do, mi, so, it's become a little bit tricky to do, so, and it takes so much to figure out, do, mi, so. And also, while only playing guitar, it's really hard to tell the sharp and flat. But on piano, it's obvious there's flat. So C, D, and there's flat in there between C, C sharp, D. So these kind of things makes tricky. And after playing 1 year of piano, I found that the E, F, Mi, Fa, and C, Do. There's no black key, so no sharp between the C and E. E and F. Mi and Fa, and C and Do, B and C. So these things are something special because, for example, here's C, D, E, and F is connecting, and G, and B, and B is C, so Do, B, C.
Then you're gonna play the same from string 1 to string 6, again in order. If you can play your note 3 times, up and down, without making any mistake, slowly, well, then you're done with that note and you can move on the next note. If you have 5 minutes a day, this means you may have time for only 1 note in that day, or you may have time for all your notes in that day, depending on how fast you are. And it's not important if you're fast or not, just do what you can right now. A few important things. Yes, you can have the note diagram in front of you and you can watch it while you do the exercise. The important thing is not if you are looking at the diagram or not, the important thing is that your hands are doing the exercise. 2. Notice that I didn't say anything about memorizing anything. You don't have to memorize those patterns.
Just play.
Indeed, when you finish all the 7 natural notes, you want to restart and redo all the 7 notes again, and most likely you'll have to find again the pattern from scratch. This is normal. I myself haven't learned all those patterns yet, and I've been doing this exercise for years. Because the goal of the exercise is not to learn the pattern. By doing this exercise and the next ones, you are gonna learn where the notes are. So it's perfectly okay if it feels to you like nothing is happening. It's perfectly okay if it feels to you like you're not learning anything, because you are not supposed to memorize those patterns. Your task is simply to play through this exercise. I cannot stress this enough. Many students get frustrated because it feels to them like they're not learning anything because they can't remember the pattern. Ignore that. Keep playing it. It works if you do it. Now, what about the notes above fret 12? Well, above fret 12, everything repeats, so it's technically not necessary. But if you feel that that part of the fretboard is less familiar to you, well, then restrict yourself, for instance, to fret 5 to 16 or something like that. As long as you have a window of 12 frets, everything works. Now, once you've done the basic exercise for all the natural notes, and you've done it twice, meaning you went through all the natural notes twice, then you can practice exercise number 2. In exercise number 2, we use a metronome. We start with a metronome at 40 beats per minute. And we play 1 note per beat. Attention here, the metronome is not optional. The metronome, turns out, is exactly what drives your learning of notes, because it adds just this little bit of pressure. 40 BPM is not that fast, but you know that you have to get that note in a finite amount of time and that you have a deadline to find it. So this little bit of pressure is what pushes your brain to actually learn the notes. If you don't do this with the metronome, this system does not work. If this feels difficult at first, don't get discouraged. You just need to go through the motion. Just do the exercises. Everything else will take care of itself. Once you can do exercise 2 for all the natural notes, you can go to exercise number 3. Add in the accidentals. That is, all the sharps and the flats. When you add in the accidentals, you just think of finding the natural notes and moving 1 fret up for the sharps or 1 fret down for the flats. So for instance, if you're finding the note A sharp, you are thinking to find A and you move 1 fret higher. If instead you're finding the note B flat, which we know that formally are the same note, but for us right now those are 2 different notes, because when you find B flat, you are thinking of finding the note B and moving down 1 fret. Once you can reasonably do all the sharps and flats with the metronome at 40 BPM, notice that I didn't tell you to speed up, stay at 40 BPM. I know it feels really slow, but trust me here. Once you've done all that, then you can go to exercise number 4. In exercise number 4, we pick 2 notes at a time. You can decide if you want to do only natural notes or if you also want to add in the accidentals. It doesn't really make a difference here. Once you've chosen your 2 notes, you do this. You play one of those notes going up and the other one going down. So for instance, if I'm playing G and D, I'm playing the G note going up and the D note going down without stopping when I change my note. That's an important point. I don't want to stop when I change the note. Always with the metronome.
Oh, that's great.
When this starts to feel easy, then you go.
Oh.